When President Obama gives his major Middle East speech on Thursday, he's expected to announce American cash support for the revolutionary Arab states. The buzzwords are likely to be about supporting democracy. But as Gani Chichiken reports, not everyone's fight for freedom fits Washington's plan.
Words could be about democracy. Actions are about interests. As the wildfire of public rage spread throughout the Middle East and North Africa at the beginning of this year, analysts say America's foreign policy in the region has seen a major crisis.
This has been the way policy has been formulated for 50 plus years out of this country, is that we try to look for somebody we'd like to see in power and back them.
Washington's old policies could now be seen unfolding in Libya. A large portion of the Libyan population is opposing any foreign meddling in their affairs, and analysts say Washington's efforts to propel its men into power in Libya could result in infighting that's going to last years. The inconsistency between what America says and what America does seemed obvious when it came to Egypt. Despite Hosni Mubarak's authoritarian and undemocratic rule, Washington had been supporting him for decades.
For many of those years, President Mubarak has been a leader and a counselor and a friend to the United States.
But when millions of Egyptians took to the streets, the U.S. swiftly shifted its policy. As veteran Washington hawk Zbigniew Brzezinski explains.
If we conclude, for example, that the street is going to win, there's no point butting our head against the wall in order to save a government that's doomed. On the other hand, if we are convinced that the street is going to fail, there's no point massively antagonizing the government with which we have to deal after whatever happens is over.
In Yemen, where the president is heavily backed by the U.S., or in Bahrain, which hosts a major U.S. fleet, Washington was very careful not to undermine their leaders, although they too have violently cracked down on peaceful protesters. Meanwhile, in Iraq, people regularly protest against their U.S.-backed government, but it's rarely even mentioned here these days. In Saudi Arabia, one of the U.S. key allies in the region, scores of dissidents have been arrested. And the U.S. seems to be okay with all of that.
But one state that is coming close to being on Washington's blacklist is Syria, Iran's closest ally in the region. There is strong condemnation of the Syrian leadership, and a White House source said the administration is close to declaring President Assad's rule there illegitimate. Action might follow.
Syria is much more dangerous a situation than Libya as far as global issues are concerned. It is a crucial player in the balance of power in that region.
With the situation in the Middle East as unstable as it is, analysts say the U.S. involvement in yet another conflict could further destabilize the region and add more red spots on this map. Gani Chichiken, RT, Washington, D.C.
Well, economic weapons are being directed at Syria's president over claims of human rights abuses and the violent crackdowns against anti-government protesters. The measures include an asset freeze and preventing Americans from dealing with Assad. The European Union also agreed to tighten its sanctions, raising fears that the next step could be military action. It's something Russia strongly opposes, citing the Libyan scenario as a failure. NATO's head, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, said that the operation there will continue until the Gaddafi regime falls. But President Medvedev believes a ceasefire is the only condition for peace.
I believe that despite the fact we still have problems, there are still ways to resolve the existing deadlock. I mean the situation in Libya, which I believe can be settled only peacefully, through the renunciation of the use of military force by both sides.